Welcome to Santa Clarita Weekly, where we cover all things local in Santa Clarita Valley every Saturday morning at 9 on KQRU 107.9. Join hosts Tim Haddock and Sage Rafferty as they uncover the latest news, events, sports highlights, and more, keeping you connected and engaged with what matters most in our hometown.
Welcome back for another edition of Santa Clarita Weekly with Tim Haddock and Sage Rafferty. I'm Sage, he's Tim. You can listen to us on the radio at KQRU 107.9 FM on Saturday mornings at 9 o'clock. We are also in TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, and you can find us online at santaclaritastar.com. So this week, we're going to be talking about Assemblywoman Pilar Schiavo's click-to-cancel bill. It reached the governor's desk to be signed into law, so she held a press conference on Friday to urge the governor to sign the bill. Congressman Mike Garcia released a video where he commented on the anniversary of 9/11 and talked about the southern border. So in sports, the Golden Valley High football team won its third game in a row, barely over Lancaster. The Valencia High football team lost its third game in a row and is off to one of its worst starts in school history. So the Hart and West Ranch football teams posted impressive wins in the third week of the season. So the Los Angeles Rams lost to the Lions in Detroit in overtime and looked a little rusty in the season opener. So the Dodgers keep winning and keep putting pitchers in the injured list. So the latest is Gavin Stone. But the good news is Yoshinobu Yamamoto looks like he will be returning to the rotation soon. So Assemblywoman Pilar Schiavo, she is the Assemblywoman over Assembly District 40. She introduced AB 2863 called the Click-to-Cancel Bill. It's a bill that aims to strengthen consumer protections related to automatic subscription renewals. It requires businesses to clearly present the terms of these renewals before consumers agree to them. So this is intended to prevent consumers from being unintentionally locked into ongoing subscriptions. The click-to-cancel bill is now on Governor Newsom's desk for his signature to be signed into law. So on Friday, September 6th, Assemblywoman Schiavo held a press conference advocating for the bill to be signed into law.
Good morning, and thank you all for being here today. My name is Pilar Schiavo, Assembly Member for Assembly District 40 here in Santa Clarita in the Northwest San Fernando Valley. We are here today because too many people in our community are struggling just to get by and really need our help. Right now, even affording the basics is a burden for far too many families. When a box of cereal is $8, recovering precious dollars from an unwanted $8 a month subscription can feed your kid for a week. And that's why our coalition stepped up, my office in collaboration with the Consumer Federation and consumer advocates, to really take action this legislative year. We worked hard this session to pass legislation that will put money back in the pockets of people and protect their most precious investments, their home. It's all with the same goal, making things easier for families across our community. And I suspect probably everyone here has a story of a time when you've had a subscription or an auto renewal that you were trying to cancel, either a gym membership or streaming services or online publications and computer software that you just don't use anymore and forgot to cancel, or forgot that the free trial ended, or maybe your kid signed up for an app and you forgot to cancel it. So the list is endless, and the frustration has really been growing, and those dollars can really, really add up. If you're lucky enough to find a customer service number and actually, get in touch with a real person, good luck trying to negotiate a solution, navigate a phone tree, and too many times the phone call is actually dropped, forcing you to start all over again. It's not by accident. This is the system that is designed to keep consumers locked in place and paying these fees. And the cost of these plans really add up. 2022 research found that on average, 42% of consumers forgot their still paying subscriptions that they no longer used, and customers underestimated their monthly spending and subscriptions by $133 a month, which is a chunk of change, especially today when dollars are so tight for people. That's not just a box of cereal, that's a bunch of groceries for a family or gas in the car for that month. And that's why we are so excited to talk about our Click to Cancel bill. AB 2863 is now on the governor's desk awaiting his signature. And we believe that this bill is really going to address these frustrations, these challenges, and put more money into people's pockets.
So Congressman Mike Garcia from California's 27th district, of which Santa Clarita Valley is a part of, he released a video reflecting on the anniversary of 9/11, and he talked about migrants coming over the southern border.
We're blessed to not have had another 9/11 event in the last 23 years, but we have to remember that this threat does still exist out there. We had on this tragic day, we had innocent Americans in the World Trade Center building having to choose between jumping from the 100th story of a building or burning alive. These were innocent civilians who just went to work that day, and it was a beautiful day, and they ended up losing their lives as a result of these evil savages who hijacked these aircraft and used them as weapons against us. So this is not something that just goes away. We're reminded back on October 7th of just this last year that this evil that invaded Israel and killed the equivalent of 27 9/11 victims, 27 times the number in terms of percentage of their population killed in Israel on October 7th. We've got to remain vigilant. We've got to continue to invest in our military. We've got to continue to invest in our readiness, our recruiting. And we need to secure our borders. We've got to not allow literally hundreds of terrorists that have come across our borders in the last couple of years that are on the known terror watch list. This is absolutely astounding to me that we've allowed this to happen.
So I just want to do a fact check on something that Congressman Garcia said about terrorists flooding over the southern border. So the U.S. Customs and Border Protection Agency, the CBP, they released data on this. So they have something called the Terrorist Screening Data Set, also known as a TSDS. So it's a database of potential threats that's used by the CBP to identify potential terrorists crossing the border. So they say they're pretty good at screening people and identifying potential terrorists and people on that list. So non-citizens on the TSDS may be denied entry or detained, depending on that situation. There's no evidence that hundreds of terrorists are flooding over the southern border. According to the CBP, 139 people from the TSDS have been intercepted at the southern border in 2024. So that just this year. So in most cases, they're going to be denied entry to the United States. But Congressman Garcia is locked in a tight race for re-election against Democrat George Whitesides. You're listening to KQRU 107.9 FM in Santa Clarita. You can listen to Santa Clarita Weekly on Saturday mornings at 9 and on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, or wherever you listen to podcasts. So I'm going to turn it over right now to Tim to talk about Santa Clarita Valley High School sports. Tim?
Right. So Golden Valley improved to 3-0. They're the only undefeated team in the Foothill League and beat Lancaster in a really tight defensive game. The Golden Valley High football team is the only undefeated team in the Foothill League. The Grizzlies beat visiting Lancaster 7-6 at Canyon High to improve to 3-0. It was a tight defensive battle throughout. Golden Valley took a 7-0 lead in the second quarter on a 25-yard touchdown pass from Brandon Contreras to Anthony Baldoz. Lancaster scored a touchdown with 5 minutes to play in the fourth quarter. The Eagles went for 2 on the conversion. Points were not easy to come by in this game and was stopped. AJ Duranville made the stop to keep Lancaster out of the end zone and preserve Golden Valley's 1-point lead. Jamison Torres carried the load for Golden Valley on offense and defense. He rushed for 125 yards on 28 carries and helped chew up valuable minutes on the game clock. He also had an interception on defense and was vital in stopping several Lancaster drives in the game. He talked about how his team won the game against Lancaster.
Golden Valley beat Lancaster 7-6 tonight to go undefeated at 3-0. Talk to me about the game tonight. Talk to me about being 3-0, and talk to me about how you won this game, because this game was tight. This was close all the way through. Tell me how the team pulled together and how you guys won this game.
Yeah, our defense was very great tonight. We gave up one touchdown, but other than that, we were stopping them. We all came together at the end, too, to get that clutch first down, and we just finished it out. We had a few players that didn't play recently step up today, and, it was just overall a good win.
This game was won by the defense. I don't want to say it was all defense, but a lot of big defensive stops tonight. I think one of the biggest plays of the night was stopping the two-point conversion.
Yeah.
But you tell me, who on defense played well tonight? Who did you like playing with on the field tonight?
I want to shout out AJ. He hadn't played all season. He stepped up today because we have a missing middle linebacker, and did a great job. And, he stopped that 2-point, which was a very big play.
And talk to me how Brandon Contreras played tonight. The offense wasn't clicking like it normally does, but it got the job done tonight. Tell me about how well Brandon played tonight.
He's a great team leader. He manages the ball well. He manages the clock, and he did what he had to do to win. That's all that matters.
And after the game, Golden Valley coach Dan Kelly praised his team's defense for keeping Lancaster out of the end zone for most of the game. Here's what he had to say after the game.
Kelly, coach of the Golden Valley High football team. Golden Valley beat Lancaster tonight 7-6. It was a tight defensive battle. Tell me about how well the defense played tonight, and tell me what some of the better players on defense for you tonight.
Well, our defensive line played pretty well. We had a few big plays in the backfield. We created a turnover down here that helped us. Defensive line played excellent. We had some good DB play out in the secondary. No one really stands out to me right now because I think there was a lot of guys out there doing a great job for us, and there was a lot of team effort. There was a lot of pressure on the quarterback, a couple iffy calls there for late hit on the quarterback. He's in motion, but their job is to protect the quarterback. But that was a defensive win tonight. They did what they had to do. Our offense sputtered. We moved the ball at times. We got some first downs, but at the end, the offense won the football game by getting first downs and running the clock out. So it just happened for us to have the ball in that situation, and we were able to win the football game.
Your team is 3-0 now. You're undefeated.
Yep.
Tell me about being 3-0 and how important was it to win this game?
I knew going into this game that Lancaster was going to be a great challenge for us. They have a great coaching staff, a lot of team speed. A lot of big linemen up front. They do they do something on offense that you don't see every week with their big splits. Defensively, they run a very fast 3-3-5 that is hard to get outside on. We try to run right at it, and it was still very difficult. They did a great job as well. It just came down to who had the ball last.
Golden Valley is on the road and plays South Pasadena next. The Hard High football team rallied in the fourth quarter to beat visiting Paraclete 30-26 at College of the Canyons. Park quarterback Jacob Paisano scored the winning touchdown in the fourth quarter. Parker Maxwell caught 13 passes for 157 yards and scored a touchdown. And sophomore running back Maddox Frismith scored 2 touchdowns and had 146 total yards on offense. Hart trailed 20-10 in the third quarter. The Hawks took the lead 23-20 in the fourth quarter on a TD catch by Maxwell, his third of the season. But Paraclete took the lead right back and led 26-23. Paisano capped the game-winning drive with a TD run to give Hart a 4-point lead in the fourth quarter. It was Hart's second win in a row. The Hawks are on the road and play Eisenhower next. The West Ranch football team beat Antelope Valley 36-14 and won its second game in a row. Luke DePerno scored 3 touchdowns for West Ranch and gained 182 rushing yards. Max Piccolino had another big game on defense. He returned a block punt for a touchdown and had a sack. He has 6.5 sacks in 3 games this season. Maddox Lomelli caught a 25-yard touchdown pass from Cooper Jackson, his only touchdown pass of the game. DePerno has scored 4 touchdowns in 3 games. West Ranch plays Thousand Oaks in its next game. The Saugus football team lost to Camarillo 24-15 56-24 and dropped to 1-2 after 3 games. Saugus quarterback Jake Nuttall threw 3 touchdown passes and passed for 228 yards. Receiver Landon Lattimore caught 6 passes for 164 yards and scored a touchdown. Jonathan Sabatucci caught a 13-yard touchdown pass. Saugus plays Simi Valley next. Simi Valley is 3-0 and beat Valencia 49-41 in the first week of the season. The Canyon football team lost to Cathedral 49-0. The Cowboys trailed 28-0 at halftime and had trouble generating any offense against an undefeated Cathedral team. Canyon plays Palm Springs next and will look to even its record at 2-2. Palm Springs is coming off a 35-21 win over Eisenhower, which plays Hart next. The Castaic High football team lost to San Joaquin Memorial 21-10. It was the second loss in a row for Castaic. Memorial led 21-3 at halftime. Castaic shut out Memorial in the second half, but only scored 1 touchdown. Monty Coleman hauled in a touchdown pass from quarterback Kenai. Get this right. Monty Coleman hauled in a touchdown pass from quarterback Kenai Langard. Next up for Castaic is undefeated Dominguez, 2-0 and coming off a 21-0 shutout over Hawthorne. The Valencia High football team lost its 3rd game in a row, 38-33 to Murrieta Mesa. Valencia is 0-3 to start the season, one of the team's worst starts in school history. Valencia led 20-17 at halftime and 27-24 after 3 quarters, but Murrieta Mesa scored 2 touchdowns in the 4th quarter to win the game. Valencia quarterback Brady Bredhauer threw 2 touchdown passes and rushed for a 3rd touchdown. Running back Brian Bonner rushed for 91 yards on 11 carries and scored a touchdown. He has 6 touchdowns in 3 games. Receiver Nick Seymour caught 5 passes for 135 yards and scored a touchdown. Logan Thompson added a touchdown catch and had 44 yards on 5 receptions. Valencia will look for its first win of the season against a 1-2 Rancho Cucamonga team.
All right. So, Tim, what role did Jamison Torres play in Golden Valley's victory?
Right. Yeah. Jamison Torres was all over the field in this game. He was the running back. He was really the only offense that Golden Valley could generate. And even though he didn't get into the end zone, he was able to keep the ball for Golden Valley, keep the offense on the field. And like I said earlier, he just chewed up the clock. The Lancaster didn't have many opportunities to score in this game because Torres was chewing up all the time, chewing up all the field when Golden Valley had the ball. So on offense, like I said, he didn't score any touchdowns, but he also didn't give Lancaster an opportunity to score any touchdowns either. And on defense, he was great. He had the interception. He stopped one drive from Lancaster, and he was just crucial in stopping Lancaster's drives all throughout the game. He was making tackles, making plays, and just really an all-around player on both sides of the ball.
So Hart just won its 2nd game in a row. So what has changed that has made Hart a better team over the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think this is just part of the growing pains with Hart High's team this year. They have a new coach and they have a new philosophy and a new offense coming in. And there's just a lot of changes in this team from last season. So it maybe took them a game to get used to the new system. And the last 2 games, Hart has looked impressive. They've had to come back, had to rally a little bit to win these games. But it also shows that the offense is working, the system is working, and the kids are buying into the new coaching style. So I think it was just a matter of time before Hart started winning. They just needed to get used to the new system.
So West Ranch just had a great game. Can you talk more about Luke DePerno's contribution to that game?
Right. Yeah. So Luke DePerno after the game, he said he could have had a better game. He said the team could have had a better game. He said they left a lot of points on the field. And this was a game that West Ranch, West Ranch really didn't have a whole lot of problems with Antelope Valley. This was an easy game, and it was the 2nd time in a row Antelope Valley's lost to a Foothill League team. So Antelope Valley is just not as competitive as it usually is, and West Ranch is starting to play much better than they did in the first week of the season. They talk about an offense that's starting to click and starting to produce. West Ranch is going to be a handful for all the Foothill League teams once Foothill League season starts.
So let's talk about Valencia. So what does Valencia need to do to turn things around?
Yeah, I feel bad for Valencia because they were so close to winning their first game of the season against Murrieta Mesa. They actually had the lead late in the game, and it just slipped away. They fell apart. I won't say they fell apart, but they just made some mistakes in the fourth quarter, and it cost them. And I said they were in position. They were in position to win this game. All they had to do was stop Murrieta Mesa, which they were doing pretty regularly throughout the game. And Murrieta Mesa ended up putting together a couple of touchdown drives, and Valencia just didn't have an answer for it. So I feel bad for them because this is a game that they could have won, and I think this is a game that they feel like they let slip away.
All right. So let's talk about the NFL, the Los Angeles Rams. So the Rams lost their season opener to one of their best receivers in the game against the Lions in Detroit. The Lions scored a touchdown in overtime to win 26-20 and escaped with a win in its first game of the season. So the Rams looked a little sloppy and lost key players in the game, but not before putting together a couple of touchdown drives to give the Lions a scare. Quarterback Matthew Stafford rallied the Rams in the second half, erasing a 14-point deficit. So the Rams took the lead in the fourth quarter, 20-17, on a touchdown run by Kyron Williams, but the Lions kicked a field goal to tie the score 20-20 and send the game into overtime. The Rams lost more than the game, so wide receiver Puka Nacua hurt his knee in the first half of the game and did not return in the second half. And after the game, the Rams put him on the injured reserve, and he will miss at least 4 weeks with a sprained knee. So center Steve Avila also injured his knee and is doubtful for the Rams for the next game against the Arizona Cardinals. Rams coach Sean McVay talked about the adjustments the team is making with the injuries with Nakua and Avila.
You know what? I think each game's going to be its own entity. It was a very unique circumstance because when we got so many of our linemen banged up, Sarah, and it limited some of the different. I mean, basically, we didn't operate off anything that our game plan was. We had to truly just change in the middle of that game plan. So when there's some things that are unforeseen, you're going to go with guys that you trust and that you know. I think the way that some of the way the drives unfolded, where there was long breaks in between, I think that's why you saw our running back and tight end rotation reflected as such. Colby Parkinson played 69 snaps. I believe Kyron played 71 when you look at it. So want to get Ronnie a little bit more involved, want to be able to get Blake involved as well. And then, Davis and Hunter got a few snaps, but based on how the game unfolded, it was very unique for a lot of different reasons, none of which probably suit what you guys are really looking for, but that was not how we anticipated the rotation to go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jordan?
Hey, Sean, I know you're probably still working through it, but in terms of contingency plans, all of those positions that you talked about, first of all, would Kobe be a day-to-day, a week-to-week?
Yeah, he's day-to-day. Day-to-day.
Okay. Yep. And then for Joe, who do you anticipate coming in at left tackle?
That would be a question that I probably have a better answer for you, just based on the availability of maybe some guys coming back, and then obviously we'll look to bring some bodies in as well.
All right, so let's talk about Major League Baseball. So our favorite team, the Dodgers, keep winning, and their pitchers just keep getting hurt. In the midst of all of this, Shohei Ohtani is putting together a historic season. He hit his 46th home run and stole his 46th base. He is on pace to become the first player in the Major League history to hit 50 home runs and steal 50 bases in the same season. The Dodgers won 2 of 3 games against the Cleveland Guardians, but not before another pitcher landed on the injured list. Gavin Stone is nursing an injured shoulder and will be out for a couple of weeks. But it looks like Yoshinobu Yamamoto is ready to return to the rotation. The Japanese import has been out since June. When he was in the rotation, the Dodgers had one of the best pitching staffs in the league. He is one of a long list of Dodgers pitchers, including Tyler Glasnow, Walker Buehler, and Clayton Kershaw, who have been on the injured list this year. The Dodgers are 86-58 after 144 games and in first place in the National League West standings. They host the Chicago Cubs at Dodger Stadium before traveling to Atlanta for a weekend series against the Braves. So, Tim, how does Ohtani's performance compare to the other players in Major League Baseball history?
Yeah. Ohtani is having a season that nobody's ever seen. No one in the history of baseball has ever been able to put together this combination of speed and power in the same season. I mean, there have been a handful of players who hit 40 home runs and stole 40 bases in the same season, but there hasn't been a single player to hit 45 home runs and steal 45 bases in a season. So he's already been the first player to do that. It just seems that the 50-50 combo is a nice, two nice round numbers, and it would make this season even more impressive than it already is. And to top it all off, I mean, Ohtani is having one of the best seasons for the Dodgers. No Dodger in franchise history has ever hit 50 home runs in a season. I mean, there's been a few players who have gotten into the 40 range, and a couple even got to 48, 49 home runs, but there hasn't been a single Dodger in the history of baseball who's hit 50 home runs in a season. So not only can he become, not only is he on pace to have an historic Major League Baseball season, he's on pace to become one of the best Dodger power hitters in the history of the franchise.
So I'm sure the Dodgers are really excited to have Yamamoto return. So how is this going to impact the Dodgers pitching staff?
Yeah, it's crucial. It's crucial. If the Dodgers want to make any type of run in the playoffs, they need the pitching staff, they need the rotation to be as healthy as it can be. And Yamamoto, when he was healthy in the first half of the season, he was arguably the best pitcher on the staff. It was him and Tyler Glasnow who were carrying this team in the first half of the season. And for the Dodgers to win in the playoffs, they're going to need strong outings from their starters. And that's really the key in the playoffs, is if you have one or two lights out starters and you have starters who can go 6-7 innings and shut down the other team, you have a good chance of winning playoff games. And if you can't do that, if you're going to try to outslug other playoff teams, it's not going to end well for your team. The pitching, other teams have great pitching staffs too, and hitting and scoring runs becomes much more difficult against playoff teams. So Yamamoto needs to be healthy. It'd be nice if Glasnow came back and was healthy. And the Dodgers need a strong starting rotation to make any sort of noise in the playoffs.
All right. Well, definitely still rooting for the Dodgers despite their troubles with the pitching staff. But that's our show. So tune in next week for more discussions about the news from Santa Clarita. You can listen to us on the radio at KQRU 107.9 FM at 9 on Saturday mornings. You can also watch us on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, and listen to us on SantaClaritaStar.com, wherever you listen to podcasts. Leave us a comment and be sure to subscribe to Santa Clarita Weekly Online. Thanks for listening. Have a great week.
Thank you for listening to Santa Clarita Weekly. You can watch the show on Santa Clarita Star's YouTube channel and Facebook page, as well as listen in on the radio at KQRU 107.9. Visit SantaClaritaStar.com for more content and tune in right here to KQRU 107.9.